Have you ever been sitting around and wondered, what would be better than a 6-axle dump truck? 7-axle dump truck would be the appropriate answer there. Let's roll the intro. Hey everyone, it's Josh with the Hisson Group, and thanks for tuning back in this week. Yes, we have a 7-axle dump truck. Now, it may not look perfect right this second because we got this just from Heritage. In fact, earlier today with the body on it, they're the ones that put that pusher axle on, and of course, we've still got to put a set of wheels and tires on it. Yes, they're going to match, so it will look like that when we've got the wheels and tires on it. This one, it just hit the ground and I was really excited to get it done and get it on film for you guys so you guys can take a look at it. And maybe I'm a touch early, but that's par for the course. Nonetheless, today we are going to talk about this 2021 T880S 7-axle dump truck. It's all about as much stuff as you can put in that box there. So, like usual, some B-roll, because it's pretty. It's shiny too. We'll get to the B-roll and then we'll, yeah, you know. So as I mentioned, this is the T880S. That gives it a flatter front end, but just because it's flatter doesn't mean they went cheap or anything like that. This is like an expanded metal here. Once again, metal. Nothing plastic up in the front end here. A lot of expensive stuff back there. We want to make sure that it's protected. Sure, if something like a bird hits this, it's going to have that jello through a cheese grater look. Below this, we've got giant flat piece of steel with curved ends for bumper. Tow hook out front here. This does have the fog lights down below. Once again, getting more light down the road where you need it, and the lower light helps stay underneath the clouds in that. The lower the better when it comes to fog lights. This composite reflector headlight up front here, very at front end of the truck with this. It's the same headlights that they use in the W990. Do a great job of getting that light on down the road for you. Now, a lot of people have commented on the headlight being on top of the turn signal, where it's the other way around when you look at like the T880 and stuff like that. The big reason they had to do that was the headlight bucket is actually quite a bit deeper than the turn signal bucket. The front tire being just so far tucked in up underneath there, switch those around, suddenly the tire is going to take the headlight off. Since we don't want that, that's how it's set up. Shall we continue? So with this being the T880S, we've got the set forward front axle. That gives you extra wheelbase, extra bridge length, and it really doesn't give you that much of a turning radius penalty. This truck is still very maneuverable. Part of that is due to the 22,800 pound front axle, 23,000 pound springs. This has disc brakes. Outside here, we've got the Alcoa Durabrite wheels, Bridgestone wide base 425 rubber wrapped around them. Because we've got the wide base tires, as we come up here, we've got the fender flares to help keep garbage, muck, earth from coming up and getting the truck dirty or anything like that. Over here, we've got our air intake for you. Around that, we've got this nice chrome piece which helps dress things up a little bit, and really when you look at it, it's an inexpensive item. I've always liked the way that chrome bit looks around there. This does have a very sharply slanted hood on it. that does a couple of things for you. A, gives you better visibility right in front of the truck, and obviously B, it helps to work with this set forward front axle. So underneath that specifically sloped hood, say that 5 times fast, you guys are probably wondering about this. Now, this truck is designed, once again, with payload, and also payload in mind. Noticing a theme? So there's 2 things that come into play with this. A, lightweight. Because we want to go lightweight, we went with the MX13 engine in this. That is about 350 to 400 pounds lighter than one of the other big block engines that you can get in here. Now, the next option with this too is if you're going to run heavy, you don't want something weak up here. This is 510 horsepower, 1,850 foot-pounds of torque. Now, one of the most beautiful things about this engine is something that's often overlooked. Guys sometimes say they don't like the power of the MX engine. It's because they're not driving it correctly. This engine has full torque at 1,100 RPM. You don't need to buzz this thing. Just let it roll along and grunt. And in fact, you don't even have that much of a choice in it because this runs an 18-speed UltraShift Plus transmission. These transmissions especially, I mean, every year I see the programming for these get better and better and better and better. This transmission is no different. It's not quite predictive, but if you help and learn the transmission, if you help drive to the transmission, instead of trying to make it do what you want it to, you two are going to get along great. Now, if you think the engine wants to do something other than what it does, and then you try and make the transmission do other stuff, or you think it should be doing other stuff, you two are going to hate each other. I've said this before. Good drivers learn to adapt to their equipment. And the drivers that I have worked with that have learned to adapt to the equipment on stuff like this absolutely love it. You have tons of power here, and you don't even need to pick the gear. It's got 18 chances to get the right one. I haven't seen a chance yet where it gets the wrong one. So you guys probably realize that I really just wanted an excuse to stand on this really nice platform that they made here. But we're going to go top down on the cab for once. The very top, obviously we've got a pair of air horns because we know people sometimes, it's a fairly decent sized truck, still may not see it, especially because they're too busy looking at their cell phone. Those are the pretty good way to get someone's attention. We've got the 5 clearance lights. We've got stainless steel visor to help protect that windshield strip and keep your eyes out of the sun. We've also got spotlights here. We know in a lot of cases this truck could be going into construction. Well, construction in a lot of cases happens at night. Having the ability to shine light wherever you want it, whether it be in front, side, or the back of the truck, is always a huge help. The doors, I always brag about these. The windows open, it still closes like a bank vault. It's just that solid closing. I mean, I still, every time I close one of these doors, I just get that, it's oddly satisfying. We'll go with that. This does have the grab handle that goes the whole way up. Same thing on the inside here. It's got one here, one here. You can use this to get in. Once again, it's just an excuse to open the door. Mirrors. I can shake the whole truck with the mirror. Not real well with this one as heavy as it is, but you get the idea. So sturdily mounted. You just don't move them. If you do hit something, they are a breakaway mirror. So that way you're not going to wipe everything out, and you may have some scuff marks here, but you're not buying a new mirror for anyone. And they're hard to push out. Down below, we've got the large diameter tank. This one holds 90 gallons. Now, with all the space that we needed for that 7 axles, we've got the def tank stuffed up underneath here. It actually sits under the cab in kind of a wedge shape back in behind the fuel tank here. It's a great way to get the def tank up out of the way. You're not causing any space issues. It doesn't take up any frame space. Once again, utilizing all the space that we've got there. For here, we've got pusher axle controls for the 3 pushers that were installed from the factory. Engine heater plug also. So sitting on top of the chassis, we've got a 22'6" Heritage smooth side aluminum bed. Now, one thing that I really like here is there's this cool step platform here. Just when you need access to get from there to there, that's a hop. To have that platform there, nice added little touch to it. Plus, I know a lot of you guys are probably going to end up strapping a milk crate or something like that on the other side. We've got our steps here to get up and in. The bedside, it's a nice polish on this. I can do what's left of my hair in it. It's a nice setup with this. Now, with it being a smooth side bed, these are actually extruded panels. Think of it as like a hollow 2x4 stacked next to each other this way. It's a nice setup. It makes it lightweight, yet very, very, very strong. The strength that it adds is a big thing. The other thing that it helps add is it gives you that little bit of insulation. So if you're hauling something that's hot, you can keep it hot that little bit longer and that little bit better. So I often get asked the question, why 6 or why 7 axles? And let's get into that. But first, I want to make sure you get the full effect of this. So we will take that one and just put it there. You like that? So now that you've got the full effect of what is going on here with this truck, in Ohio, the way bridge laws are written, obviously the more axles, the better. Also in tandem with that, the more wheelbase, the better. Now this truck runs a 307-inch wheelbase. The way the factory measures that is from the center of the front axle to the center of the tandem. So basically right in this area. The way the state measures it is from the center of the front axle to the center of the rear axle. So right here-ish. So with that, it's 54-inch axle spread on that. So we add 27 to the 307 and we've got 334. Now in feet, I'll put the math up here. You can see what the benefits are to running that set forward front axle, because that does give us basically almost an extra foot of wheelbase. That extra foot adds about 1,000 pounds in terms of what you can carry. The more you can put in there, the more you can put in here, which there's nothing. There's a piece of paper. That's it. That's all I got. So you can see why guys want to run the 7-axle. If you can get in the spots where you want to be, this is definitely the way to go. Speaking of axles and what's going on with them, the rear axles got Bridgestone tires, 24.5-inch rubber, Alcoa Durabrites on them, 430 rear end gears inside of that, disc brakes, front and rear on this truck. Holding it all up, Chalmers suspension. In terms of the pusher axles here, these just have regular old polished Alcoa wheels on them. Once again though, hit them with something every once in a while, they'll stay looking good for a very long time. We've got all the usual items here at the back. Single coal chute, the polish once again extends right there, just looks really nice. Now this uses Heritage's swing system for the gate, so it can actually come up, move out of the way, whatever you need. It's that added movement for the gate that sometimes just comes in handy. Gate's an air release on it. Pull the pin inside, everything comes out. Pretty simple. Yes, the interior. You guys know how much I love this interior. I don't think I really need to gloat about it or go on about it. The nice thing, I know I mentioned outside, there's the spotlight. You can adjust it right here. It's just a nice, handy setup. Once again, there is another one over right above you up there, but you can't see that if you turn your, never mind. So the steering wheel in this truck, it is the Smartwheel. I don't know why anyone would go without a Smartwheel currently. Just having these controls here at your fingertips, if nothing else, you don't use them. It's an inexpensive option. I absolutely love it. This, you've got all your switches, the switches for the strobes up top, the lights. You've got your pusher axle switches here, your lockers for the differential, just everything you need. This does have a full gauge package with the pusher gauges up here, our axle temperatures, boost gauge. It just, once again, it lets you know what's going on. The other two that I really like that are on here are the air filtration and the fuel filter gauge. Lets you know when those are starting to get a little bit clogged up. For the added pusher axle, now you can only get 3 pusher axles from Kenworth. So we had Heritage install the 4th one. That uses a switch right down here. Hit the switch, it's the same as hitting the other 3 up here. Really simple, really easy. Once again, great spot to get to. In the tower, we also have our tailgate control, the bed up and down. PTO switches in the dash. They do a nice job of putting the body up and the PTO lights right there where you can see them. Just once again, super simple, super easy, a really well laid out setup. What else do we want? Right now, if you can see the sweat rolling off of me, I want air conditioning, but I didn't want to have the truck running, so that it's automatic climate control too. I'm going to get out to finish this video up, and I've got one more big thing to talk about with it. So if you think that this is a lot of truck, you'd be right. But in this truck is designed to do two things. First off, designed for those of us that love trucks, because to me, this says truck. It's kind of hard not to like that. And the second thing, one of the reasons why most of us like trucks, besides the mystique and just the power and the mechanic, and I could go on for days about that. When it really comes down to it, the money you make with this truck is going to be one of the other things that you're going to love about it. The ability to stick more stuff in that bed and not have the DOT after you, that's a big selling point. It's one of the reasons why I like this truck too. It really is all about letting you go out and do as much as you can to make as much as you can. Engine, trans, brakes, axles, bed, it's all set up to allow you to put more in there. Makes sense when you think about it. Some of you guys like the big old heavy stuff. That's great. Those that want to make money and, to be honest with you, still look really good in the process, I think this is it. Let me know what your thoughts are on it. You know, comments down below. As always, if you like this, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down twice. Stay safe out there, keep it rubber side down. I will catch you guys on the flip side. I have no idea how to end this video, so I'm just gonna sit here and grin like an idiot for a few seconds. Oh, thumbnail. How about, maybe I should do my, yeah. That's gonna be the thumbnail, you just watch.